House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
You're listening to House of Cards.
Today, the game is different.
I want to gamble. Gambling is a very serious business. Is that clear?
Welcome to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here, deep from the swamps of Jersey. We got a great show coming up for you. Last year was a devastating year for the gambling business, and one of the places hardest hit was Atlantic City, New Jersey. Jobs were lost, revenues fell, and businesses failed. But what can we expect in the new year? Coming up, I'm going to be talking with one of the best reporters covering the gambling scene in New Jersey. You may remember David Danzis when he wrote for the Press of Atlantic City, but now he's writing for PlayNJ.com. Coming up, I'm going to be talking with David Danzis about what we can expect from gambling in New Jersey in the new year. So stick around. We'll be right back with House of Cards.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-297-9788. 800-297-9788.
Psst. Yeah, you. Come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore. Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use the offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
You're listening to House of Cards. Check out our website at houseofcardsradio.com.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you. 2020 was a difficult year for the gambling business. Here in my home state of New Jersey, the gambling industry has been affected like I've never seen before. Our next guest has been covering the New Jersey gambling scene with Press of Atlantic City, but now he's writing for PlayNJ.com. It's always great to welcome back one of the best reporters covering the gambling scene, David Danzis. David, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here. Really glad to be here.
Great having you. I mean, and it's such an important time, especially for gambling in New Jersey. I mean, Atlantic City has always had its ups and downs when it comes to the gambling business, but it has never endured a year like we just had. I mean, when we talk about jobs in Atlantic City, when we talk about casino revenues in Atlantic City, how damaging has the year been for Atlantic City?
Well, I'd love to put a positive spin on it because I know that that's what people want to hear, but the truth is, this year has just been really, really hard on the Atlantic City gaming industry. Total employment is down about 40% for the year. We just got, year-end gaming revenue numbers yesterday. Year-to-date, down about 17%. Brick-and-mortar casino revenues down over 30%. So, there's not a whole lot of positives to take out of 2020. There are a few, but the big picture is that, this was a really, really hard year on Atlantic City and the casino operators. But as somebody who lives in this area, I will tell you it's been hardest on the employees and the people whose jobs are dependent on the gaming industry. Those are the really the people who have suffered the worst. But it looks like there's some brighter days ahead. It looks like some things are going in the right direction. So, as always, we'll try to remain positive. We'll try to remain optimistic. But 2020 was really, really tough.
Well, let's take a look at what's ahead for Atlantic City. You wrote a great article in PlayNJ.com about the big stories that we can expect to see coming out of Atlantic City in the new year. Talk to me about that. I mean, what can we expect from Atlantic City in terms of a recovery in the gambling business? Or should we even expect to be fully recovered by the end of this time next year?
Well, I'll start with the second part of that. And I think most industry experts will tell you we're not going to see a full recovery. Probably not until about the second half of 2022, maybe even the beginning of 2023. It really is going to take that much time for things to return to any sense of normalcy and for casino operators to really get their footing back underneath them. But, some of the things that we can look forward to in 2021 and that will help us get to that rebound is really all of the reinvestment that's going to be happening in Atlantic City. And specifically, I'm looking at two operators, and I'll start with one, and then we'll get to the larger one. And the first one I want to touch on is Bally's. In my story, I led with what I thought was a really good segue into it, which is, in any other year, the sale of an Atlantic City boardwalk casino for $25 million would have been front page news every day for weeks on end. And the sale of Bally's Atlantic City was almost an afterthought. And Rhode Island-based Twin River Worldwide Holdings purchased the casino, and then shortly after, they actually bought the Bally's name from Caesars Entertainment. So Twin River is now Bally's. So Bally's, in order to get approval from New Jersey regulators, had to commit to spending a certain amount of money to upgrade that property. And that magic number is $90 million. Wow. And that's a really significant amount of capital to invest in one property, particularly one as old as Bally's Atlantic City. I mean, let's not forget it's the second oldest casino hotel in the city behind resorts. Other than when they put in Wild Wild West and the revitalization or the refurbishing of the Dennis Tower about 20 years ago, there really hasn't been a whole lot done with that property. So Bally's committing $90 million to spend in Bally's over the next 3 years as their target date, starting here in 2021, I think is really, really important.
What can we expect from that property?
Sure, go ahead.
I want to ask you about that because I wasn't a big fan of Bally's before they got their sports book. Now I love their sports book. That was my favorite sports book in Atlantic City. I watched the Super Bowl there. What can we expect from Bally's going forward, especially with this influx of money?
Well, let me just start with the sports book. So the sports book is now actually part of Caesars.
Sure.
In closing the deal, the Wild Wild West and that whole area there, which includes the sports book, is now part of Caesars Atlantic City. So as we speak, Bally's right now only has a temporary sports book. And that's going to be run by FanDuel, which is really exciting. They are in the process of constructing a permanent sports book. If you're familiar at all with the footprint of Bally's, it'll be right where the Blue Martini Lounge used to be, which is right off the boardwalk. Really great location. So that's really exciting. So that should be done sometime this year. But really the big thing that's going to happen at Bally's that we're going to see is almost a complete and total renovation of every single room in that hotel, including, new suites and upgrades and things like that. We're going to see new restaurant concepts in there. I know a lot of people are big fans of, Guy Fieri's Chop House and Buca di Pepe. I don't want to be the bearer of too much bad news, but I wouldn't expect those two brands to be in Bally's too much longer.
Okay.
We're going to see some new restaurant concepts come in. For some of your older listeners, they might remember that the 6th floor in Bally's used to be the place in Atlantic City, right?
Sure.
Really, really kind of hot spot that everybody who was a who's who went to. Bally's is going to redo that entire area, including the spa, the pool, and the lounge area up there. So they are really, really trying to bring Bally's back to a place of relevance in Atlantic City, because it was an important brand for so long, and it needs to be again in order for Atlantic City to find its way again. So we're going to see new hotel rooms. We're going to see, like I said, a new pool and spa area. We're going to see a new sports book and some new food and beverage options pretty soon in Bally's. So lots of good things, lots of new things coming down the pike.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side.
Attention seniors with Medicare. This is an important announcement. Did you know you may qualify for a monthly Social Security rebate? Did you know you may qualify for a $0 monthly premium? That's right. You may qualify to get $135 added back to your Social Security check each month. Just call the Medicare benefits line to get your options. It's a free call. You may also qualify for $0 premiums, dental coverage, vision coverage, hearing coverage, and prescription drug coverage. With this type of plan, you don't need Medicare supplement insurance. Call now, because you deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits, including a rebate to your Social Security check each month. Agents are standing by with free information regarding Medicare benefits. It's a free call with no obligation, but it could mean big savings for you. Call the Medicare benefits line now to see if you're eligible for a Social Security rebate.
Call 800-574-6770. 800-574-6770.
You're listening to House of Cards.
Where was the house? Where was the house of cards?
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here. House of Cards is brought to you by PartyPoker.com. Why go to Atlantic City or Pennsylvania? Pay for gas, pay for parking, fight the crowds. You can play the same games online anywhere in the Garden State. Sign up with code EXIT7A and take advantage of Party Poker's new sign-up offer of $25 free, plus a first deposit match up to $600, and start playing poker online today. Start playing and start winning some cash at nj.partypoker.com. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with David Danzis from PlayNJ.com. You know, another big deal that you talked about and had made the news all around the country was the Caesars and El Dorado Resorts merger. What can we expect to see from Caesars in the coming years in Atlantic City?
So Caesars has really, really big plans in Atlantic City, and so Caesars sold Bally's and got rid of that property, but with the merger of El Dorado, they also now took in Tropicana. So Caesars Entertainment currently runs Caesars Atlantic City, Harrah's, and Tropicana. Across those three properties, Caesars Entertainment has committed to spending $400 million over the next 3 years, with 150 of that completely committed to Caesars Atlantic City. And again, when we talk about iconic properties in Atlantic City, Caesars is the third oldest property in Atlantic City. And the Caesars brand itself just carries so much cachet and so much weight that it really is important that that signature property gets that kind of attention. But Harrah's also just celebrated its 40th anniversary and is in need of some love and some capital investment. So we're going to see about $125, $130 million of investment at Harrah's.
Wow. Okay.
And finally, they're talking about redoing an entire tower of room renovations there.
Wow. Okay.
Again, we're going to see some new food and beverage options there. So, and of course, there's kind of this shift in the gaming industry, not just in Atlantic City, but in its totality, to electronic gaming.
Sure.
So I know that Caesars and Harrah's both have plans to create electronic table games areas. So, you're going to have that kind of stadium seating feel where you'll be able to play blackjack, roulette, baccarat, maybe even craps, all in kind of this electronic table game setting. So you can expect to see all of those things at those two properties. But the one that's really interesting to me is Tropicana.
Really?
Tropicana, not too long ago, just got a major renovation, right? They put in the quarter, and that became a major draw in Atlantic City with all of the restaurants and shops and entertainment options there. But Tropicana is going to get some investment too, and those plans are still being kept, close to the chest. And once those details start coming out, I'll certainly report on them. But my understanding is that there's plans to invest about $100 million in Tropicana as well. So Caesars has big plans for Atlantic City, and anybody who's a cheerleader or a fan of Atlantic City can only hope that those plans come to fruition and they're done well, because all three of those properties are very, very important to Atlantic City and its future.
I'm always curious about the newer properties in Atlantic City, the Hard Rock and the Ocean Resort. I know my parents love going to the Hard Rock buffet for lunch, so I think they're going to have to wait a little while for that one. But I know Ocean Resort had some big renovations. I think they put in a new high-limit slot room. What can you tell us about that?
Sure. So Ocean had actually planned this capital investment prior to the coronavirus pandemic and the shutdown of the industry. They had wanted to redo their high-limit slot room. And believe it or not, the coronavirus pandemic actually gave them the perfect opportunity to do that. Huh. There was nobody in the casino other than a handful of employees. So they really got to not only renovate the space that they wanted to do, but they put in all the bells and whistles, and they really took their time and they did it right. So the new high-limit slot room at Ocean is called The Cove. Okay. A nice tie-in there to their aquatic theme.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, it is really, really an eye-catching space. I mean, you can see it from almost anywhere on the gaming floor. It catches your eye. But walking inside of it, you really do feel like you're kind of in a different casino altogether. There's just a vibe and a feeling in there that is unlike any other high-limit slot room that I've been in Atlantic City, and it's really, really a nice addition to that property. But it's only one of several investments that Ocean has planned to make over the next couple of years. Lots of people are aware of the fact that when the property was known as Revel, it never was finished, right? Mm-hmm. You can look at the footprint of that property, and there was actually supposed to be an entire second tower built of hotel rooms. And it never happened because the funding ran dry, and they never got a chance to finish it. But in that same process, they also left 13 floors of hotel rooms in the one tower completely undone. Ocean has every intention of completing those 13 floors, if not this year, certainly within the next 24 months. And that's going to add about another, I want to say 200 to 250 hotel rooms to the market. So Ocean's not done. They still have big plans for that property. They still have lots of space in that property that they can add a few more things.
It's absolutely enormous.
There's an entire, it's a huge footprint.
Yeah.
There was an area when Ocean first opened that they wanted to kind of make almost like a family entertainment zone with arcade games and things like that. And that space right now is completely empty. So Ocean has some opportunities there to do a lot of other things in addition to what they already have planned. So they're definitely a property to keep an eye on over the next year, 24 months or so.
Well, let me ask you something. I mean, when people want to visit Atlantic City, if they want to visit now, I mean, what can they expect to find? Are all the casinos open? What are some of the restrictions that people should expect when they go into Atlantic City casinos right now?
That's a great question. And, I get that question quite a bit, even from just friends and family. So all the casinos are open. They are open 24 hours a day, just as you would expect. The restrictions, the big one is there's no food or beverage being served anywhere after 10 p.m. And that's really hard on the weekends. If you're somebody who visits Atlantic City on a Friday or Saturday night, you might not even go down to the casino floor until 10 o'clock. But now you can't even get a bottle of water or a cocktail on the casino floor at 10 o'clock, and that's due to the state of New Jersey's coronavirus restrictions that they've implemented. A lot of the amenities in the casinos have capacity restrictions, right? So if you're somebody who likes to go to the spa, or you like to go to the pools and things like that, I mean, these are all things that you just have to sort of plan for, right? You're going to have to call ahead and make a reservation or carve out some time in your trip to go to those places. You're not just going to be able to walk in and say, hey, I want to get a massage, or I want to go take a dip in the pool. But the only thing that is truly, truly closed in the casinos right now are nightclubs.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty obvious why to anybody who's wondering. By and large, the casinos are running and operating just as you would expect. 25% capacity restrictions on the floor, which really doesn't impact the day-to-day operations all that much. I mean, between you and I and the world listening, if the casinos had 25% on their floor every night, they'd be thrilled. It's very rare that they could even get that close. So the 25% capacity restriction doesn't have that much of an impact. You have to wear a mask everywhere you go. You will notice a reduction at table games, right? Most table games only have about 3 or 4 open positions for players. Craps is a little bit more depending on the size of the table. Slot machines, every other one or every 2 is turned off. But other than that, if you like going to Atlantic City, if you like the experience, not much has changed. You just have to be able to be a little more flexible and a little more understanding of what's going on. I will throw this in as a caveat, don't take out your frustrations on the poor casino employees. It's not their fault. It's not their decisions. They're not the ones telling you to wear a mask. They're not the ones telling you to keep 6 feet apart. Those are coming from above their pay grade. So, come down, have a good time, enjoy yourself, but, just be respectful of what's there and what's in place, and you'll enjoy yourself and you'll have a good time.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-297-9788. 800-297-9788.
Hey, this is Dave Weishuttle from House of Cards with your House of Cards gaming report for the week of January 18th, 2021. Michigan could soon be a part of the Interstate Compact for online poker. Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed legislation which would allow online poker operators in the state to share player pools with Nevada, New Jersey, and Delaware. Michigan plans to go live with online poker, online casinos, and online sports books as early as January or February of this year. Gamblers could soon be able to use Bitcoin to play slot machines. Gaming giant IGT received a patent for a process which would allow the transfer of cryptocurrency between a player account and an external account, making it easier to play slots on mobile devices. Many in the industry feel that this is a way for casinos and online gambling operators to appeal to a younger audience. And finally, a fantasy football bet turned into a $1,000 tip for a Waffle House server in Georgia. As the last place finisher of his fantasy football league, Michael Carsley agreed to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House. Carsley live-streamed the event as a fundraiser for his server. Well, at the end of the event, Carsley ate 18 waffles, racked up a $49 bill, and gave his server a huge tip of over $1,000. A nice story to start the new year. Have any news or tips regarding casinos, gaming, or legislation? Send us an email at newsroom@houseofcardsradio.com and follow us on Twitter at HOC Radio.
You're listening to House of Cards.
I'll bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day.
No way.
I'll give you 3-1 odds. No. 5-1. No. 10-1.
You're on.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you. House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with David Danzis from PlayNJ.com. You know, one of the big stories in New Jersey, we were just talking about this off air, was sports betting in New Jersey and the incredible numbers that Jersey has been churning out. I mean, someone told me, and I didn't even realize this, I'm from New Jersey, I should realize this, that every Atlantic City casino now has a sports book, which it was, I kind of knew it, but it was shocking to hear. I mean, but in your opinion, what effect has sports betting had for Atlantic City?
So I'm so glad you asked this question, because there's really two ways to look at this. When you look at what sports betting has done for Atlantic City casino operators, it's been nothing short of remarkable. You know, the amount of money that's being wagered in New Jersey, we just set an annual all-time record with over $6 billion in yearly handle. In December, we just missed $1 billion month in handle. It was $996 million for the month, and that resulted in just under about $100 million in total revenue for casino operators, racetrack operators, and their collective online and mobile partners. So, in that sense, it's been great, right? It's an additional amenity for them. It's an offering that they've wanted to do for some time, and they finally been able to do it. The flip side of that, and the way you phrase the question is really important. What have sportsbooks done for Atlantic City? And here's where this gets a little tougher to answer, because the truth of the matter is it really hasn't done much. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does bring some people to the casinos. Yes, it does give people who are there something else to do. But in terms of generating profit or generating lasting excitement for a casino property, the results have been pretty negligible. You know, when we're not talking about a big game, or, you know, take, for example, this weekend, right? You had 6 NFL games over the course of 2 days.
Sure. And
then Monday night you had the NCAA championship. Clearly, that's a great 3-day stretch for the Atlantic City sportsbooks. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those places are empty. So they're not a draw when things aren't going on. I mean, you'll get 3 or 4 guys sitting down watching a regular NBA, a regular season NBA game or an NHL game that started last night. But by and large, they're not doing a whole lot. So it's a gift and a curse, right? It's great because they have them and they're finally able to offer them. The catch is that because online is such a monster, it's not doing a whole lot for Atlantic City and the Atlantic City casinos themselves. So that was kind of a long-winded answer, and I'm sorry I got so verbose there, but that is the story. It's great for the operators themselves. It's not so great for the brick-and-mortar properties.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, and they think, after the pandemic, sports betting is going to see even a bigger explosion in Atlantic City because they think, maybe big events will be coming back to Atlantic City like boxing. I talk to a lot of esports people who say, maybe esports events will be coming there, and betting on esports will really give a boost to Atlantic City casinos. I mean, do you see that happening to Atlantic City? Do we have to wait till the pandemic ends until we see sports books really affecting Atlantic City economy?
Short answer, yes.
Okay.
Without being able to pack those sports books, and I know a couple of the properties are sort of testing the waters when it comes to e-gaming. Until you're able to have thousands and thousands of people in a crowded space again, it's not going to have that big of an impact. And I know, you had mentioned that you were at the Valley Sportsbook last year for the Super Bowl.
Sure.
I was at another property for the same event. You couldn't move.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally, I was shoulder to shoulder with thousands and thousands of strangers, and I'm somebody who loves that, right?
Yeah.
I love that kind of atmosphere, that kind of energy. That's really lacking right now, and until we get this virus under control and this pandemic to a place where we can comfortably and safely go back to our lives, we're not going to see that in Atlantic City. And until that happens, it's the timing just couldn't have been worse for Atlantic City. They finally got sports betting. They put all this money into these properties and building out these sports books and hiring employees and advertising, and all for naught. So it's really kind of sad in that sense, but like I said at the top, brighter days are on the horizon. I don't want to just sound like a negative Nelly. Hopefully by this time next year, if we're having the same conversation, you and I are talking about how great the first wild card weekend was for the sports books, and how you couldn't even get a table or get a beer because it was so crowded. And as sad as it would be to not be able to get that drink, I think we could all agree that it would be fantastic in the bigger scheme of things that it was so busy that you had to wait 15 minutes to get your beer. So that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I think Atlantic City's hoping for as well.
Well, we mentioned the huge online sports betting numbers for New Jersey. Now we're hearing reports that maybe New York is getting closer to online sports betting. What does that mean for the online sports betting market for New Jersey? Because I got to tell you, I mean, anyone who travels in North Jersey knows there's a lot of people from New York coming over the border to bet either in our sports books or they're riding the trains, putting their bets in. But what does that mean for online sports betting in New Jersey?
Yeah, so everyone thought that when Pennsylvania launched online sports betting that it would really take a dent out of New Jersey. And clearly from what we've seen this year, that hasn't been the case. Now, New York is a whole different animal. And while we don't have exact numbers because the operators just won't make them public, it's a pretty safe bet that anywhere between 20 to 25% of the money that's wagered in New Jersey is coming from New York residents. And we know this primarily because the biggest place where New Yorkers are going to place their bets is I'm not only taking the train into New Jersey or taking one of the Hudson River crossings into New Jersey, but they're going to the FanDuel Sportsbook at the Meadowlands Racetrack in East Rutherford. And 20 to 25% of New Jersey's overall business is going to be significant. The flip side of that is the growth that we've seen in New Jersey over the last 5-6 months doesn't seem to have an end in sight. So if I had a crystal ball, I'd say yes, New York legalizing online sports betting will have an impact. Do I think it will put an end to New Jersey's growth or New Jersey's role right now as kind of the king of the hill and the biggest challenge to Nevada's sports betting supremacy? I don't. I still think New Jersey is going to be in that conversation. You know, there's brand loyalty here in New Jersey, and whether New Yorkers take that brand loyalty back home with them and continue to bet with those operators, or if they've kind of found that they enjoy taking NJ Transit or the Path into New Jersey and doing that thing and hanging out in Jersey City or whatever it might be, who knows? You know, I really don't know. But I don't think it's going to be as dire as some people predict. But don't misunderstand. New York will very quickly be in the conversation as one of the largest sports betting markets in the country, and they will have online sports betting to thank for that.
You know, not only online sportsbooks are doing very well in New Jersey, but online casinos are doing very well right now. I mean, here in New Jersey, I can't turn on a TV without seeing Tillman Fertitta or some other guy pitching an online casino. Do you think online gambling in New Jersey has found a sustainable audience right now? I mean, after the pandemic ends, I mean, certainly the numbers are going to drop a little, but has it found its audience finally?
Yes, it has. It really has, and part of that was a result of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
With casinos being closed, you know, people had that itch and they looked at what was out there. And, you know, New Jersey has done a really, really great job in providing customers with options. So there is no shortage of recognizable brands, but also up-and-coming brands that customers can try. And because of that, and because there's so much competition for the customer dollar, some of these operators are offering great deals for both new and existing users. And because of that, you know, I go back to my kind of brand loyalty point when it comes to sports books. The same thing happens with online. Mm-hmm. You know, you might find that you like Betfair or you like PointsBet or you know, pick your poison. You're typically going to stay with that. Now, what that means in terms of when we get back to normal and people can get in the car and make the trip to Atlantic City, I really don't know. But what I can tell you is looking at the numbers this year for online gaming, the growth has just been absolutely remarkable. I mean, the 4 months that Atlantic City's casinos were closed, we were looking at triple-digit percentage increases year over year in online gaming revenue. You know, 120, 130, 160% growth in some months. For all of 2020, 101% growth over 2019, just shy of $1 billion in total internet gaming revenue. It's absolutely remarkable, Dave. And I've seen no evidence to suggest that market has plateaued. And no one's been able to make an argument to support that either. It just seems right now that the sky is the limit for New Jersey online gaming. And until we see otherwise, I really don't know what the end is. But I can tell you right now, I will make a prediction that 2021, we will see $1 billion market in New Jersey online gaming.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side.
You, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore. Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
Now that we're home more than ever, we need to feel safe. Call it a sign of the times or the world we now live in. What do you want to keep safe? The people in your life? What do you want to protect? Your possessions, the things that belong to you, the things that you've worked hard for. Wouldn't it be nice to have tested, trusted 24/7 protection? Peace of mind, real protection that's always there for you and your whole family? Well, now you can with one of our state-of-the-art home security systems. Everyone thinks their home is safe until the unexpected happens. Help protect your home and loved ones today with the affordable next generation in home security. To help keep your family and property safe, call 1-800-520-4068 now. Representatives are standing by to assist you. That's 1-800-250-4068. 1-800-520-4068.
You're listening to the House of Cards.
Nice. Not thrilling, but nice.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishaupt with you. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with David Danzis from PlayNJ.com. I got to tell you, the marketing for online casinos and online sports books, and I even saw a commercial for online poker. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw a television commercial for online poker. I mean, I tell this to people I talk to out of state, and they're like, really? They're actually really promoting it that much? And it's actually stunning.
Yeah, as somebody who lives in the market, I'm not sure how it is in North Jersey. I know that those are more New York-centric television and radio markets, but down here, obviously, they're very Philly-centric. And because of that, we kind of have this double whammy going on where we not only have the New Jersey licenses, but we also have the Pennsylvania licenses advertising on our television and radio stations.
I have the exact same.
As inundated as
I have the exact same thing. I'm 30 minutes
so,
right outside of Philadelphia, and it's to see New York, and I get actually both stations because I'm in Central Jersey, and to see New York with their online sports books, and I get Pennsylvania with their online casinos, so it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's nonstop, and it's funny, even as you and I are sitting here watching, I'm watching a commercial for Hard Rock Online Casino.
Okay.
And as you were bringing up the question, FanDuel Sportsbook had a commercial on, so. Even as we're sitting here talking, right? I mean, your point is being proven. It's one after the other after the other.
I saw a new one this morning. It was WinBet. I saw a new one this morning. It was WinBet. I've never seen that one before. And you see a new one every day.
Yeah. Win is a new entrant into the New Jersey marketplace, and they're testing their hand at both sportsbook and online casino. So just another recognizable name brand that's now here in New Jersey, even though they don't have a physical presence. People know Win. And again, it's another way to bring in a customer base that maybe hasn't tried it or hasn't been interested before. Well, here's your chance. It doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about promotions. I mean, a few weeks ago, Atlantic City made some national news regarding the old vacant Trump Plaza Casino on the boardwalk. I mean, for people who don't know, they're actually raffling off a chance to help implode the building, which is what a great promotion. Can you tell us where Atlantic City is in that bidding process? Or are they still taking bids, or what's the latest on that story?
Sure. So the bidding is still live.
Okay.
And actually, if you go to PlayNJ.com, if you click on my story about the Trump Plaza implosion, there is a link right there that takes you right to the live auction site. As of this morning, the high bid was $175,000.
Wow.
And for anyone who's unfamiliar with this was actually, I have to tip my hat to both Atlantic City Mayor Marty Small Sr. as well as Carl Icahn, because they both came up with this great idea that the money that's raised from this live auction for someone to get the chance to push the button to implode the old Trump Plaza, all of that money is going to go to the Boys and Girls Club of Atlantic City.
Great.
Every single dollar. And it really is. It's a genius promotion. It's a good cause. And I know a lot of people have very fond memories of Trump Plaza. It really is one of those casinos that is just synonymous with Atlantic City.
Yep.
But if we're all being honest with each other, it has, I hate to overuse the term because we've seen it in newspaper articles and television broadcasts about this. It's been an eyesore on the Atlantic City skyline for years. Pieces of the facade have been falling off in heavy windstorms. Squatters have broken into it, and, they have butane food cookers in there, and they've started fires, and there's just been all sorts of issues with that property. And truth be told, Atlantic City will just be better off when that property is no longer there.
When is this taking place? Is it open to the public?
So right now there is no scheduled date. The original date was supposed to be January 29th, but the demolition crew ran into a couple of issues while they were, doing their pre-demo. And right now we're looking at probably the second or the third week in February. City officials have yet to actually announce a date, but I promise you, I have a really good relationship with the Atlantic City mayor. As soon as that happens, I may not be exactly the first to know, but I'll certainly be at the top of the line. So February is kind of when we're looking at that. Yes, the public, you won't be able to get near the property, obviously, for safety reasons. But it's going to be live streamed. If you're interested at all, certainly I would suggest booking a room in either Caesars or Bally's or even at Trop, where you can get a really nice view of what's going on. It's going to be a spectacle, and it's going to be, something that people can really take part in this revitalization of Atlantic City, right? Because we're not just talking about bringing down a property. The discussion is already about, well, what's going to go there next.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to know what they have plans for that property, because it is so rare when a property in the middle of the Atlantic City boardwalk becomes available, and I'm just very curious to see if anyone has been talking about what to put there.
Yeah, so right now that is that's still a military grade top secret at this point. No one really knows. And part of that is because we don't know if Carl Icahn is going to keep the property, right? If you get rid of the building that's there, obviously the value of the land goes down, but we're still talking about oceanfront property in Atlantic City, and there's very few lots like that are even available anymore. Mm-hmm. My gut tells me that Carl Icahn is going to find an interested investor, an interested developer who's going to do something with that property. And, another casino is not in the cards. I don't think I'm going out on a ledge in saying that or talking out of school. I think we're looking more at kind of like a mixed-use development, something residential/commercial going there. That's probably your best bet. Nonetheless, it's going to be exciting when it does happen, and it's going to be a major story when it does. But right now, we truly don't know, and I think that really is up to Mr. Icahn.
David, we don't have a lot of time left, but I want to ask you about a new restaurant that's coming to Atlantic City that you wrote about in playnj.com. When people ask me about going to Atlantic City, I always tell them they have to go to the iconic restaurants, get the full flavor of Atlantic City, like Angelo's, Tony's Baltimore Grill, Irish Pub. But two owners of the two Atlantic City's oldest restaurants, the Knife and Fork Inn and Doc's Oyster House, are opening up a restaurant in Resorts. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I had a great conversation with Mark Giantonio, who's the president and CEO of Resorts, and he's really excited about this because, as you mentioned, the Dohertys have been involved in Atlantic City restaurants dating back to the early 1900s. Doc's Oyster House and Knife and Fork are, if not the two most iconic restaurants in Atlantic City, you named a handful of others. They're certainly in that conversation, right? Mm-hmm. what we're looking at inside of Resorts is we're going to have a new steakhouse concept. This new restaurant is taking the place of Gallagher's Steakhouse and Gallagher's Burger Bar. So I apologize ahead of time to anyone who was fans of those two fantastic restaurants, and they were both great restaurants. But like anything, got to keep up with the times, and things need to get a little freshening up. So we're going to see a new steakhouse concept, and we're also going to see a raw bar / live entertainment kind of concept incorporated into that.
Wow.
And this is something that Mark Giantonio was really excited about, because live entertainment is something that Atlantic City really used to do very, very well and kind of got away from.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw Hard Rock really make that a focal point of their brand and what they wanted to do in Atlantic City. I mean, even now, during coronavirus, you can walk into Hard Rock at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and there's a live band playing in the lobby bar. And that used to be in every Atlantic City casino, right? That was actually part of the casino regulations, that you had to have live entertainment for a certain amount of days every year in order to get a casino license. So live entertainment has always been really, really important to Atlantic City, and Resorts hasn't had it for some time, and they are really looking forward to being able to offer that to guests on the second floor, where they have Capriccios and soon to be Doherty's Steakhouse and Doherty's Royal Bar. So really exciting things coming. We haven't seen any blueprints for what that restaurant's going to look like, what that space is going to look like. But I know that Resorts and the Doherty family will be anxious to share that with the world when they finally do have those plans finalized.
David, like I said, we're running out of time, and I have a million more questions for you. I mean, I didn't even get a chance to talk to about the giant water park that's coming to Atlantic City. But I just can't wait to see what happens there. But I want to give you a chance to tell people where they can check out your articles and give out your social media address so people can follow what you're up to.
Sure, I appreciate that. So I am now at playnj.com. We also have a sister site, njgamblingsites.com. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter. I just made a slight modification to my Twitter handle so I wouldn't confuse folks too much. You can find me at AC_Danzis. And as always, I will do my best to keep everyone up to date on not just Atlantic City news, but New Jersey gambling news. We just had some big news with the racetracks and sports betting settlement there, and there's always something going on in New Jersey gambling. So if you want to stay up to date and you want to know what's going on, please follow me on Twitter or check out playnj.com or njgamblingsites.com.
David Danzis from playnj.com. Thanks so much for coming on and telling us what's going on in the New Jersey gambling scene. Some amazing things are happening in New Jersey, so please come back on and keep us updated.
Thanks so much for having me, and anytime, guys. Happy to do it.
Well, that'll do it for us this week on House of Cards. If you're going to one of the newly reopened casinos, poker rooms, or sports books, please be safe. We'll see you next time on House of Cards.
Drag us far with shame.